Hello, everyone, and welcome to JOJO'S Mojo on Mupo Entertainment. I am so glad to be here with my guest, Donna Rhodes. How are you today? And thank you so much for joining me.
I am wonderful, and thank you for the invite, JoJo.
Anytime. JOJO'S Mojo, what I do here is I take people from zero to hero, and we talk about their bottoms, and then we talk about what they're doing now and what they want to do in the future, which are great and amazing things. So we'll see you guys after the commercial break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JOJO'S Mojo on Mupo Entertainment. This is JoJo here and my wonderful guest, Donna Rhodes. I want to thank you so much for being here and helping many people and many women that you are helping through your book and your coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your book?
Sure. Well, I'm married to my wonderful husband, Denver, for over 35 years. We have 8 children together. We have 14 grandchildren and 5 great-grands. So we have quite a family.
That's beautiful. And you survived it.
I did. And so much more.
Okay, now let's go into a little bit about your story and how your book came about.
Okay, so for most of my life, I heard people say when they heard my story, you need to write a book. And I heard it over and over and over because to me, it was just my ordinary life. But to other people, it was like, wow, how did you survive that? So I thought that I really wanted to start this adventure of sharing with speaking. And so I actually started taking classes for speaking. I met this wonderful woman by the name of Florence Littauer, and she had written 40 books. She had a wide ministry all over the world, helping women and helping people develop themselves so that they could tell their stories in the most effective way possible. And that's what I wanted to do. So I started taking her classes. And she said, if you have something to say, you have something to write. So she helped me with my speaking. And then she said, now go home and write. And so I did. 12 years later, I have a book.
How cute. Now, what's the title of your book?
The title of my book is How the Woman at the Well Became a Well Woman.
I really like that title because we're hoping through the help of our previous mentors in the speaking, in the writing, in this writing your story, it's important that we do write that story. I have learned that to write the story, someone reads it and then they learn from our story.
Yes.
And then they can implement those things that we learn through trial and error.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the book?
Sure. So my book is about survival. So I've lived an extreme life, very extreme. I was born the 7th of 10 children. I was born to an alcoholic mother and a father who left us when I was 4 years old, and I have never met him. So I had never had a father through my life. At age 7, the state came in and took custody of us due to neglect and abuse. And so I ended up in an orphanage first, and then in foster care. And then when I was about 15, I went into a home for unwanted girls, and it was a Catholic run charity. And when no one else will take you, it's where they will house you. So I spent a year there. And then when I was 16 years old, I was finally able to go back home to my mother. Little did I know that things really hadn't changed for her. She still had problems with alcohol. And I was there for about 3 months, and I came home from school one day, and she sat me down and she said, "You can't stay here." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "You don't fit into this family. You're not like us." And at that time, I didn't realize that was a good thing. But my foster families had been very different from my mother. My mother never left poverty. She never left alcoholism. And I had been blessed with some very nice foster homes. And so I had lived in nice neighborhoods and vacationed in St. Pete, Florida, and had done some finishing school things. And so I had had some opportunities, but it also made me very different from my family. So I said to her, "What am I to do?" And she said, "You either find somebody to marry you or go back to the state." And at that age, I was very afraid of going back to the state. And so I said, "I'll find somebody to marry me, I guess." And I did at 17 for survival.
Right. Wow. A lot of us are in survival mode.
Mhm.
What is that like, being in survival mode?
For me, it was not being able to make wise life choices because I was desperate. So not having a foundation, not having experience, not having someone speak into my life, so that need to have my needs fulfilled came from a bad place instead of a healthy place.
Yes. And a lot of us are in survival mode because we're stuck.
Yeah.
How do we get out of being stuck?
For me, it was perseverance. It was reaching out instead of staying in my stuff and inward. One of the first experiences I had with reaching out is when one of my daughters decided to go off the track, and I did not know what to do. And I was given this advice to go to a parent support group. Well, I was like, I need help, and I didn't know anybody who could help me, so I'd give it a try. So I tried. And from the first night that I went, I was in love with support, like other people who knew what it was like to be in this situation that I had never been in. They'd been down that road. They'd had kids who had done things that shocked them, surprised them, just mortified them, or didn't know what to do about certain situations. And so everybody put their heads together, their experience, their knowledge, their everything, and just reached out to suggest maybe this might work, or maybe that might work, or just hearing people's stories. And that's when I first saw connection. It was like, oh, wow. I didn't know what to do if my daughter called and wanted to come back home, because I had other kids in the home. I didn't know what she was into, and that scared me. And so I didn't sleep well, and I was afraid of the phone. And it was like, what do I do? And one mom said, "Here's a number that if she calls, you tell her that there's a safe house and a safe ride. And then you give her that number, and if she's serious about wanting help, she'll call. They'll call you. You two will reconnect. There'll be counseling and help you get back together, reconnected." And it was like, what? there's a number, there's a place, there's people. I was like, oh, I love this. So when I went home that night, it was like the first time I'd slept in so long because I had an answer. If she calls, I'm going to say, thank you for calling. I love you so much. And I really want us to. And it was like that first piece that was, this is what can happen when we put our heads together and our resources together and help each other.
Yes, definitely. I mean, they say where two or more are gathered,
Yes.
you will be there
Yes.
also, right?
Yes,
And it's really
absolutely.
very important. I mean, we had, you knew my mother from
Oh,
years
yes.
ago, and we had that sense of community and we helped each other.
And it meant everything, especially when you come from a background of not being connected to a family, or to have, I moved a lot because of my financial situation. And so I didn't have a lot of resources. And so my world was small. And so that it was so helpful to be able to then come into a loving family.
Yes, there's one thing that happens when you're moved around a lot or there's no stability, is that safe feeling.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what happened to you when you don't feel safe compared to when you feel safe?
I think that you are in a hyper condition. When you don't feel safe, you don't have rest. And when you don't have rest, you don't have peace. And so you can't really figure things out.
Yes, but once you get involved in a group so that you're not alone, you get all that
That's important.
information and then it opens your world up for
Yes.
possibilities and to move
Yes.
forward.
And when I was in that parent support group, the director, after 6 months, said, I would love to train you to be a facilitator in our groups so that you would be able to take them over and run them yourself. And I went into training and I worked with them for 6 years. And every Wednesday night, people came through the door with all kinds of problems. And we put our heads together and sent them out into the world with new solutions, and they would come back the next week and then we would continue to grow and help each other.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
It was an amazing experience.
And it's nice because it's not just you and that one other person, it's you and many people.
Many
So
people.
And not all the weight's on you as that one person.
Right. Yes. We would first meet as a large group. We would break into small group. We would come back into large group and share what we had learned. And then that's how we ran the meetings.
That's amazing. And then when you were taught these things, you put them into your practice, into your life, because it's important for people to actually get into practice in that, what they're learning.
And that's another of the awarenesses that you have to be aware that you have to honor small steps. Like when the man said, you need help, you need help, instead of saying, oh, I need help. But yes, I need help. And being able to be brave enough to go get it and then apply it. And it has its own rewards. So it spurs you on to continue, because once you've done something and felt that success, like the night I could sleep, it was like, wow, that helped me go back the next week. I was like rested and ready to help. Now, when somebody else came into the group, ready to say if that was her situation, I have an answer. We also had a table in the room, and it had all of the resources that our community had for people that I didn't have any idea it was there. I didn't have any knowledge of what was available. And so once I was able to get all that information, then the next person that came along, I was able to say, hey, let's go over to the table and take a look at this. This might fit your need.
That's amazing. It's out there, and it's already out there.
It's already there.
And the thing people don't realize is that it is out there, and that
Yes.
seek you shall find, right?
Yes.
It's exciting. I truly appreciate your story and your background and your ability to push through and have courage.
And in my book, I say that I wrote it to give hope, even if you have to borrow some from me until you get your own.
Then that's wonderful. And I really appreciate your story, because it's a story of triumph and courage. And again, if you're lonely, there's resources out there. Domestic violence is on the rise. Alcoholism is on the rise. We have all sorts of recovery groups, all sorts of places we can go. If any of you out there are in trouble, please reach out to somebody. Don't stand there alone, because you're not.
Right. Absolutely.
And
There's
that's
lots of free numbers too. You don't have to have any money to call an 800 number for help.
so. I want to thank
Yes.
you so much for coming on the show and sharing your book. And what was your book's name again?
The title is How the Woman at the Well Became the Well Woman.
That's amazing.
And it's on Amazon. So you can get it either an ebook or a paperback. It's also on my website, which is www.onewellwoman.com, and one is ONE, onewellwoman.com. And if you want a signed copy, you get it from the website, and I will sign it and send it to you from my office.
That's amazing. I look forward to people knowing, hearing, and reading your book. That's so amazing. When we come back from our commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit more about what goal Donna Rhodes has for her next chapter of her life. Welcome back to JoJo's Mojo. It's so great to have Donna Rhodes here with us. Thank you so much for joining me on my interview with Donna Rhodes. We're going to end this wonderful show with points that will help you be the better version of yourself, and an awesome poem that she wrote that will touch your heart. So thank you so much for joining us on Mupo Entertainment. My show is Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on mupotv.com. That's mupotv.com. Take it away, Donna Rhodes.
All right. Well, in writing my book, I wanted to share some of the things that have helped me get from abandonment to finding my true home. So I've come up with 6 points that helped me. And I find it interesting too, that it also is applicable to the pandemic for what we're going through in our country today. So one of them is accept what is and be open to change. Number 2 is remember history. We have dealt with very difficult times before, and we have all survived. The pandemic has presented challenges, but it's also presented many opportunities. So in a crisis, people are more ready to make changes. And that applies to our own lives as well. We're capable of persevering through life's circumstances. We are capable. We have in us what it takes. Feeling like your life is out of control sets the stage for lost hope. If you feel like you have no control, bring focus into what you can control. The true power of hope lies in uncovering and choosing it when the presenting conditions suggest doing the opposite. And we are defined by how we respond to conditions. It is not what has happened to us, it is what we do with what has happened. That defines us. So perseverance through hard times has its own rewards. So why choose my book? Well, it's an uplifting message for a very difficult time. So if you're having a difficult time, and certainly we are in the midst of difficult times, and my life has been a difficult life, but is ending very well. I'll give you a little bit of a insight as to who I am. I wrote a poem at the very beginning of my book to give you a little introduction, because a lot of people that read my book have never met me before. So I wanted a little introduction as to who I was before you read my book. So here it goes. I am from dichotomy. I am from the womb of a wounded woman, her pain delivered from mother to child. I am from rejection and acceptance. I am from foster care and finding a forever home, lost and found. I am from divorce and married happily ever after. I am from prison and freedom, poverty and king's palaces. I am from travel, rough roads, rocky roads, dead end roads, roads under construction, yellow brick roads, and take me home, country roads. I am from Elvis's swinging hips and a mother's warning lips. I am from sugar sandwiches and filet mignon. I am from pulling a little red wagon and then flying in a first-class cabin. I am from false religion and amazing grace. I am from black and blue and healthy boundaries. I am from cancer and vibrant health. I am from new beginnings. I am from gratitude, and I am from it is all grace.
Thank you so much for that. And we have grace.
Yes.
And we have love, and it's out there. And we have acceptance.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on JoJo's Mojo. This has been a delight and wonderful pleasure. And it means a lot to me and my viewers.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.